come free with the duck and an eagle shooting the breeze. From paintball fields to campfire fun, you know the rowdy talk's just begun. Now kick up your feet and pour a glass. We're about to have a blast. We're the rowdy ones. We're the rowdy ones. The rowdy ones.
Welcome back to the Rowdy Ones. Really excited about tonight's episode, having Alan Bufton on. He's, the new team owner of Houston Heat. And over this offseason, I've gotten a chance to become a lot closer with you, Alan, and I've appreciated our conversations. And I, just really look forward to the journey that we have ahead and the relationships we're going to build and the successes that we'll have on and off the field. So really thank you for your time. And I'm excited for people to get to know a little more about your story. I think too many people just see the things that happen on the field and put their own spin on things. And once you get to know a person, I think it really allows you to have a different take on them. And for better or worse, for you, I think it's going to be better. So, we're going to start off this episode. I'd love, a quick backstory of how you got into team ownership or paintball in general. And then we'll get into some of the more recent endeavors.
I got you. Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me. I don't usually do these type of things, but because you're the face of Houston Heat, so I had to do it, right? So, but the story goes like a lot of people. They had a kid that got into paintball, or went to a birthday party and played woods ball, and then like with my two boys, they went. I took them to a place to have a birthday party, and they both liked it. It was they didn't play conventional sports, but they played a lot of video games. And then I saw it as a way to keep them outside. In the woods playing and so forth and so on. And then eventually, after about a year of playing woods ball, we went and saw an MAO in 2013, I think it was, up in Maryland. And it was something I'd never imagined what it would be like. And it was like a big event. And so, I had a pretty good sports background myself, like in high school and college, and a little bit after college with track. But and I've been to a lot of big sporting events. But with paintball, it was kind of like a little bit different. And when my son Austin, when he saw it, he's like, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And I'm like, "Okay, let's see what we could do." And
that has to be so exciting to see your kid have a passion for anything. I'm a newer dad still, but like anytime, like when finally finds the thing that she's that passionate about, I can't imagine how good that feels.
Yeah, it was great to see that he wanted to do something competitive, right? And so my wife and I decided, hey, like if this is the sport that they want to pursue, we'll do everything we can to help them be successful and take it as far as they want. And then after played a couple years of like D5 and stuff like that, and I could see that he was getting serious about it. And I told him, first of all, I said, look, no matter what sport you play, if you want to be the best at it, you're going to have to dedicate yourself. And Austin took it upon himself to like get in shape and practice and play every day. And matter of fact, we were just talking, I was talking to somebody today about Austin hasn't played 2 weekends in a row this past weekend and the weekend before last. And that's the longest he's gone without playing paintball in 10 years. So,
but you guys get one little dusting of snow and the whole world shuts down.
I know, just crybabies. It's nothing like up where you guys are. But yeah, it's just the problem is the field won't set up.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But I just think it's funny. But yeah, so then the journey took us to a point where I really thought, I was coaching the kids at like D5, and then when they got ranked up higher, I realized that, hey, look, I don't know enough about this sport that I need to get somebody, find somebody to help coach the team. And that's when I met Troy Geiger, and he used to be on Houston Heat. Just
Yeah, played World Cup with us.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, and he had a lot of experience, in I think semi-pro with a team named Raiden or something like that, and his son had taken off a while and was coming back, and so it was a great partnership. Had a coach that knew what he was doing. We had eager players locally that were looking for a real program, and that we put it together. I learned, called a couple people that were in the industry and tried to figure out exactly what we needed to do, and yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah.
Started at D4 and then D3, and then we primarily had mostly local people that could drive to the field within like a 2-hour drive, and we built a pretty good team. And then in 2017, we were playing D2. We podiumed 4 out of 5 times, and won World Cup. And from there, we went to semi-pro and took our lickings from a couple teams that were experienced, and yeah, and then we that's basically the story. And then we ended up I met Chris Jansen from Boom and a couple of guys from there, and we got together, talked about practicing each other. We were semi-pro. We're like, okay, we need to practice some people that are on the lower tier of pro teams, so we could not get completely smashed, but we could get some good experience. And one thing led to another, and we merged with Boom in 2020. So.
Yeah, I know. Personally, I was excited when you guys took your foray into the pro scene, because I didn't have much knowledge of you beforehand, but I have a pretty good grasp of what's going on around the league at all times. And I had a lot of conversations, and I heard the way that you were going about building the team, and what you were all putting into it, and your excitement about things. You were doing things the right way. And I think the more people willing to do that for the sport, that I have spent my entire life obsessed with, the better, right? So I know the successes might not have been, instantly what you had in mind, and there's always struggles, and every level you compete at is different challenges, for sure. But I think it is important for people to understand that when they see sometimes teams not successful right out the bat at a pro level, it's like these teams, most of them have been successful at all these other divisions. They're putting in the work, and now you're on a stage with all these people are winners, all these players, owners, and they're all so invested that it's not easy, and you have to find your own formula within a framework that is proven already. Because teams have done it certain ways, but that might not carry over directly for how it's going to work for you. So like I said, I was excited when you came in, and the fact that you're still around and doing it, and still in love with it the same amount, proves my excitement back then was warranted. I have nothing but respect for you, and the time and effort that you put into doing something originally just to be closer with family, but in the end, falling in love with it yourself. And I think a lot of that probably does go back into your background as an athlete, because anytime you can compete at anything at the highest levels, it's addicting. And paintball is like a new outlet for that for you, I'm sure.
No, exactly. It's like just the adrenaline, right? The competition, and that I took it from a sport when I was younger, and then tried to apply it to business, being in business. Now that's another way to be competitive. Because it's measurable. With numbers, and then now taking something like this and really truly just trying to learn. Because we're still new at it. The way the whole thing has transpired with us getting relegated, and then having the opportunity that Randy presented us was just amazing. You know, it was I call it a new season. You know, in a new perspective on how things are run at the pro level. And the funny story behind the whole thing, if you believe in coincidences or you just believe in the way things work, I think it was in 2017, maybe it's 2018. I was watching a 10 man. It used to be whenever we go to events, I would stay on the opposite side of pit side. And semi-pro, you know, you go and you just, or D2, whatever, semi-pro, you're on the other side. You're just sitting there. I always bring a chair. I just sit there and watch.
Yeah, the whole open net area. It's not.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah, and because they wouldn't let me in the pit. Troy wouldn't let me in the pit because I got too hyper. But anyway, so I'd go sit there. I'd watch the games and, you know, whatever, and go back and then meet the team after the match was over, whatever. Well, one time I was watching a match. It was actually a 10-man match. I was sitting there watching, and we had some guys. It was when we hadn't merged with Boom yet, but we were talking with Boom, and so we had a bunch of Boom guys on our 10-man team. We're playing and watching this, and then I'm sitting there. I got my nice little chair sitting there, and then I stand up and I'm kind of looking at the net, and then I look over, and here come a couple people, a lady and a guy and another guy, and they have like plates of food, right? They're coming to watch play, but they're standing there trying to eat food. And I saw the lady. I didn't know who she was. I just said, "Hey, ma'am, you want to use my chair? Sit down," because of course my chair had a fold-out tray and everything. So she sits in it. You know, I don't know who she is. She says, "Oh, thank you very much," and blah blah blah. And I go just go about watching the game, and then I look around and I see a bunch of Heat people coming over. I see Randy, and I'd never met Randy, but I'd seen him on, you know, Go Sports and stuff like that. And he comes walking right up to that lady, and I'm within earshot, and he goes, "Whose chair is that?" And she says, "It's that man right there, that guy with the energy shirt on." And he's like, "Why are you sitting there?" He goes, "Well, he let me sit here so I could eat." And he's like, "Oh, really?" So he comes walking over to me. He goes, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, whatever. I'm like, "Yeah, doing great." He goes, "That's your chair?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's my daughter." I'm like, "Oh, how you doing?" He goes, "I'm Randy Smith." I go, "I know who you are," you know. And then he was very appreciative of it. And he reaches in his backpack and he throws me a Heat jersey. He pulls out his backpack and throws it. "Here you go." I'm like, "Oh, nice." So the point ends in 10 man. I put the jersey on and I walk over to our pit. And the guys are going, my son goes, "Where'd you get that?" I said, "Oh man, you know, the owner of Heat gave it to me." I said, "We're friends." I just joking around. Like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, but that's it's funny. And then, you know, then full circle comes, and you know, I was telling Randy about that story back when after Cup this year, and he remembered it, you know, and he goes, "Oh man, I remember that." But anyway, so I just thought that like things come full circle, you know, like. And when we talked about, you know, me managing the team, taking over the team, whatever you want to call it, you know, we spent hours on the phone, just like I just absorbed a lot of stuff that I didn't know, right? You know, on certain things, on how to handle, well, just, you know, different player negotiations and stuff like that, because we never really had that. So he's been in it a long time. He's a wealth of information. He's a super good guy. I just have all the respect in the world for him. And he was and still is, you know, willing to, you know, talk to me and give me help me, you know, in this process. So we're excited, you know.
Even though he took a step back, I mean, he still has the love and passion for it.
I
think he's more involved in our group chat now than he might have been.
Yeah, he likes to send in some zingers in that group chat, so it's fun.
Yeah. That's all he is.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask real quick, when you made the move from semi-pro to the pro field, you know, what was something that you noticed that was your biggest, whether it was hurdle or something that was just totally different from that transition? Like, I was just curious, like, what's one of those deals? Because I find it very interesting, because it's two complete different worlds, right?
It is. The biggest difference to me was that we grew our team basically locally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to practice at least 75% of our team practiced every single weekend, at least Sunday, right? For several years, right?
Right.
But then, that talent pool kind of shrinks a little bit, and then you lose a player. Let's say you lose a player that gets recruited by another team. You lose a player because he's going to have a baby. His family's going to have a baby. There's lots of different reasons, job, whatever. And so then you try to recruit people locally, and it just the talent gets diluted. So then now you have to go
Because even if
outside
they
of
have potential, they've now missed all those 100 practices with the guys that put
correct.
them all grow to that
Exactly.
stage together.
No, exactly. And so then you try to go out and I built relationships with other team players, like talking to them and stuff like that. So then you have to go out and kind of recruit that guy, and then sometimes they work out, and sometimes, they're a good player, but they may not fit into your scheme, and into a lot of people pegged us as, oh man, they're regimented, they're strict, Troy doesn't let you drink alcohol or smoke or whatever, those type of things. You got to do push-ups, and so some guys, which we find out, and are just not, they're not into that kind of stuff. They're good players, but so we would try to recruit a player or two, and then they might think, that, yeah, I don't know if I want to be in that military style atmosphere, so forth and so on. But
it's funny you mention that, because I heard that about you guys a lot too. And like, do I love doing push-ups and stuff at practice? No, but that's sports.
yeah.
I played sports my whole life, and I think it's the people that don't play sports that think that you have to love everything about it to like the overall picture. You have to do everything to be successful, but you don't have to love every aspect of it. You just have to love the end goal. And I think the people that didn't play traditional sports look at it like, oh, that's not fun, I'm not doing that. Well, no, that moments of not fun lead to the fun that you want.
There are a lot of players that are good, but they don't want to hurt in practice, right? That's one of the things. But to answer your question, Hal, that was probably the biggest difference, in that we had to go outside to get players, and then it kind of messes up the chemistry a little bit, and then so forth and so on. But our first pro event was Vegas 2020, right?
Okay. Yep.
We played our very first match was against the ML Kings, which was the Prague team at the time, and we beat them. So we were 1-0 in pro. We're like, hey, this isn't that bad. Then our next match was against Damage, and we lost to Damage by 1 point. And at that time, Damage was, like they still are, very good team. We're like, man, we just lost to Damage. That's no big deal. Shoot, we're pretty good. Our next match was against the Russians, and they mercied us. And then our next match after that was Thunder, and they mercied us. And so we went back and we're like, okay, this is serious. We have a lot of work to do. And so, that's how it started. And then it was COVID, right? So
I think people don't understand the fine line between winning and losing at the highest levels.
Oh man, I tell you,
because like you look and like, you guys got relegated last year, and people might say like, oh, that should be the end of a team. But then you look back at a team like Fit, they got relegated, worked their way back up, and became the top team in the world.
Yep.
But that's kind of besides the point. What I really want to mention is like, man, you guys had what, 6, 7, 8 overtime losses in a row last year?
Yeah. 7 in a row.
Yeah. That not only is that statistically improbable, but it's just insane. Like that's the difference of, being a top 10 team or getting relegated.
Right.
And you're talking 1-point games against teams that are all accredited and well off. So it's like, it's not far off, but the more that momentum goes the wrong way, the harder it is to get
it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we made when I say we, I made some mistakes in some of the moves that we made after that big run of all these close matches, and personnel wise and some other things. And I admit we made some mistakes. Some of it was my fault. Some of it was the player's fault. Some of it was the coach's fault. It was a combination of just things that we I think we got a little frazzled, and we didn't keep our composure.
And not every decision is going to be the right one, but I appreciate any owner willing to shake things up and not being content with something too.
Yeah.
So not every move is going to be right, but it's the effort you're trying to right the ship.
Mhm.
And sometimes that digs yourself a deeper hole, and sometimes it helps you get out of the hole.
Right,
But
right,
you
right.
have to keep making those attempts, and you don't have the foresight to know the results of it. So it's always a
Right,
process.
right. Exactly.
Yeah, you're not going to get any reward if you never gamble a little, right? Like you got to risk it a little bit, and sometimes that changes the whole scope of the picture, good or bad, right? It can just fluctuate either way, but you're never going to know, and you're never going to change if you don't add a little risk to it. So
right. No, but so where the excitement comes in now is that we have a core group of guys that are, to me, well, first of all, we had it when we had our first practice together, where everybody was there except Mishka because he was in Russia. But I was just overwhelmingly surprised at how good the vibe was, right? How good, like, oh man, because I think we had a couple guys that were going, oh man, the how are the Heat guys going to be? Are they going to, what are they going to be like? I had already kind of figured it out because I talked to everybody and so forth and so on. But I still think that guys were some guys were a little nervous about, oh man, I better be on my P's and Q's and then, but everything, like I said, it was very seamless. It was very, it was not good weather. We only had a small roster of guys practicing, so you got a lot of spins, but everybody went all out. Nobody, we'll just use this terminology. Okay, Ryan Moorhead, he's a superstar. What's he going to be like? Is he going to be like Terrell Owens, or is he going to be like Jerry Rice? The guy that's always wants to work harder than everybody else. And then when I think the first few points and practice and whatever, and Ryan's out there going, balls to the wall. I'm like, okay, that's a good, lead by example. That's what I like,
Yeah.
Everybody has a job, and it's, you do your job and help your teammate do their job, and everything will work out fine. And I think everybody got along well. It was not it was almost like we've been playing together a lot longer than we had, right?
Yeah.
And at this level, everybody's pretty good, right? It's a matter of who's got the mental capability, who folds when it's stressful, who rises to the occasion when it's stressful, who wants the stress, right? Who wants that? And I think we have more guys on our team that want the responsibility, as opposed to, hey, I'll give it to somebody. Hey, somebody else go make the move or whatever it is. So
And it's wanting that responsibility, but also being happy when your teammate does it,
right?
Because it goes both ways. And I've been
Sure.
teammates with people that, want that responsibility, but then if someone else gets it, they're almost like not upset with it, but just disappointed it wasn't them.
Right,
What you need is a team that's just all there for each other. And you touched on the fact that, some players don't like the, hurt in practice. Like, the reason I go all out in practice is it's the only way I've ever done anything. When I'm doing it, I do it 100% all the time because I want to do things at game speeds to just instill
simulate.
I want to instill that so it's second nature in me. If I start slacking off at practice, if I'm lazy at practice, if I'm not making a move as fast or as hard as I could, that will slowly transition over to tournaments. And that's what I try to avoid. So like even like when I play locally, like yeah, I might not be communicating as much because you're not with your teammates and everyone's using the same calls, or you're not with people that are listening. But I'm still playing 100%. I'm still trying to get down the field as fast as possible, win gunfights like that. Because as soon as you start playing lackadaisical, your mental fortitude will decrease.
Sure.
100%.
But
No,
I think our team, like what I was excited about, like to me, that first practice, everyone's always going to be on their best behavior. Time's gonna prove if that's I think we all have the right intentions. I think that's going to continue to grow, and we're going to become an even more tight knit team and get better at every practice. But only time will be the test of that.
Sure.
Because that first week, like I said, no one wants to disappoint anyone. No one wants to let anyone down. Everyone wants to, be that positive attribute to a team. But I think we have the group of guys right now that, like I said, wants that for themselves, but wants that for everyone else around, everyone else in the organization. Everyone has desires to win for different reasons. Everyone's at different levels of their career, but everyone still has the passion and the accountability that I think will only, nurture that and grow that. So I'm excited. And like you said, it was for a first practice, it felt like we had been teammates for a long time. Part of that is probably easier when, you have a few guys that had played together across different realms, right? There's no fish out of water there, which helps because you have people built in to have your back, built in that know you, that respect you, that know what you can do. And now you're spreading that with everyone else, right? But to me, I just want, to get the best out of everyone, right? Because when we're all playing at our best, we will be winning tournaments. And it's not slacking off ever, not losing that motivation, not losing that confidence, because every little bit you lose takes so much more to gain back. So it was important for me that, our team started off on that step, just like it's going to be important that every day we spend together, we improve on that and don't rest in those laurels.
That's why I like when we're not together. I would like more communication on the chat, just like, and I don't mind, like guys should be digging other guys. Hey, did you work out today? Was it too cold? That kind of stuff. I want to see the guys, be conditioned. That is very important, especially when with us running the kind of a smaller roster. But I think that guys understand that. I know, not to speak for anybody, but I know that there are guys in our team that feel better that they have guys on the team now that they know can play well, right? That they don't have to feel like they're, having to do extra because somebody's not at that level yet. I think there are guys that are looking for some leadership. Like they want it. They want the advice from Ronnie. They want the advice from you. They want the advice from Mishka if he ever gets it. But they're open to.
We'll be here for a while. So.
Yeah, I know. But so they're looking forward to it. It's not like I don't want this guy, blah blah blah. No, they're looking forward to it. So.
And that's exciting as a player with a lot of experience too, because the hardest thing that you can ever encounter for a team dynamic, I think, is when you're trying to share your knowledge that you've built over thousands of hours of repetition and hard work and losses and wins, and then people aren't approachable to accepting any of that. And I'm not saying someone has to agree with you 100%, because I want pushback on things too, because I think everything gets better with a nice back and forth, and that way when you say something, you have to be sure and in your belief in it, because you have to be able to talk it out and grow upon it, and maybe take a little bit of something else someone else said and make your point stronger, right? It is a mutual respect and relationship, and it can't always be top down. It has to go both ways to a different percentage either way. It doesn't matter, but as long as everyone, oh man, my camera's already following me, talking with my Italian hands, you got to be careful. But yeah, I think too many times people, even when they're looking for that, you know, leadership and stuff, sometimes they're a little tentative in giving their input, and getting everyone's input's important because you want everyone to be comfortable on the field, but you also don't know, like, to me, like, I'm still learning this game. I'm still trying to perfect it because I don't believe that you can ever perfect the sport, because I think you can always push boundaries in sports, and
Sure.
you can't do that yourself. It needs to be a collaboration.
Yeah, I tell people when somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, you did this or you did that," don't take it personally. Take it professionally. Take it and absorb it, and really think about it as, "Oh yeah, actually you're right," or, "Well, I'm not sure. Let's talk about it." Whatever. I think that once everybody gets to know everybody's personality on the field, I know that Austin was saying, like, he didn't know Rob that well, and then he's playing with Rob and blah blah blah, and so now I'm asking him, like, "Hey, how's it over there playing with Rob?" He's like, "It's good." I'm like, "Really?" Yeah, we're talking good. We're like, I was like, "Wow, that's good," and just having, and also talking about, like, Andy, young kid, just full of energy. It's going to be a superstar, in my opinion. He just, you guys are going to help him to become that. But he's open. He's like a sponge. He's ready to absorb everything. Not cocky because he's gotten some press or anything like that. He's just he's going to be a solid guy. And I think Lonnie's kind of. He's a student.
He's a
exactly.
student. So as long as he still has the desire and passion that he has now, there's nothing that can hold him back.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's like I said, we've got you and Ronnie, to and we're just that those are the Heat guys. We're talking about Cody Mikowski, who is a good mentor, and that type of thing. So we've got a good solid group of guys that good athletes, good thinkers, good shots, and good people. That makes for a good team.
Yeah.
I just think that we are, well, we're going to be a team that people are going to, I hope they overlook us. I don't, doesn't matter. We're going to do what we do.
We have a lot to prove to ourselves. So I kind of like to shut out any of the outside noise. I don't care if we have to prove it to anyone else, because we have to prove it to ourselves. And if you have any aspirations of being at the top, then you always have a lot to prove. Damage just won World Cup. They have to prove it to themselves again. They didn't have a successful year on a lot of fronts. If you look tournament to tournament, it's like every team has their own goals and aspirations, and it has to be pretty sincere in knowing what they have to do to achieve those goals. So I would like to touch on, like, this off season was stressful for me because, like, I'm a loyal guy. I don't move around a lot. And when, at World Cup, when we were made aware that, Heat was going to be going away, we didn't know what the future of it would be. So in my mind, the last thing I thought is that I was ever going to be playing on this team again. So the whole, first couple of weeks is just me thinking, having a lot of conversations, but thinking what, it would feel like and be like being around all these different groups of guys and which systems would fit right. And as not a new team owner, but a new owner to a different team, that pretty much had to build from scratch. I mean, you had two pieces that you were bringing. I think this situation is pretty fast, but that's not much that it's team from. And it's like every decision and every roster move you made impacted the whole direction.
Hey Ryan, your mic's doing some funky stuff.
I thought it was my earpiece. I'm like,
No. Go ahead, talk.
Is it good?
Great, perfect.
Now it sounds good. Yeah.
Electric gremlin. Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, I wiggled on the wire a little too much. But no, I was just saying that, like, every move that you made changes the whole dynamic of what the team could potentially be or will be,
Mm-hmm.
because every person has to fit into a system and believe and have one, uh, pointed goal in
Right,
place.
right.
Right. And you don't have to like say, oh, the goal is this, the goal is that, but you have to be all on the same page and moving in the same
Mm-hmm.
direction. And how stressful was that as a team owner, really starting from scratch, but also taking over a team that has such lineage and
Mm-hmm.
heritage? Because for me, like, the conversations I've had with you and Chris played a big part in coming back to the team, but I also played a big part, not ending my career on Heat, the team I spent the last 13 years on such a
Mm-hmm.
downside, and allowing it to falter. And I want to see it, uh, you know, with that first place trophy again for all the people that support us. But I also, uh, man, I lost my train of thought. It was sometimes these are tough after long work days,
Getting all those
But
hairs out.
yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, so like that played a big role in it, but also like your vision for the team played a big role in it. And the group of people that I thought that we'd be able to put together, which is pretty much the group that we eventually put together, like, super comfortable with, because of, like you said, all the attributes you said that everyone individually has, but outside of that, a lot of versatility, a
Mm-hmm.
lot, maybe we're not the most youthful team, but we do have some youth. But we have a lot of people that, in my opinion, aren't near their end of their careers because they still love it so much and still are very
Right,
capable.
right.
So I kind of throw ages out the windows for all that. You can look at where someone is at the stage in their career based on how much effort they're willing to put in, how much they still care about it, and those things. So I was, extremely happy with the roster that you put together and thankful for that. And putting your belief in us. But as a team owner, like, how stressful was that
It,
from the
it was
beginning? It
yeah,
really would have changed everything. Like, you pick up one different person, now maybe the whole team's 40% different.
right. No, that's a good point. It was stressful, but that's where I think that Randy really helped me with, right, and taking some of Randy's guidance. But I also would, as you know, I mean, every time we were going to consider a player, um, I would talk to you, I would talk to Ronnie, I'd talk to other people, talk to Chris, right? We would go, okay, what about this guy? Well, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about this guy? No, that's a guy I think would fit in good, and speaking to Cody too, because Cody was, when Chris and I look back at it, and Randy, because after we signed Rob, he was the last guy, right? Randy said, "Hey," I think he said, "Hey, pal, you put together a good team." And I said, "Well, I didn't do it by myself, but I agree. I think we have a good team." But it was stressful because um, there were a lot of people hitting me up, right?
Mm.
A lot of guys. That was the time where everyone's going, "Hey, what's going on? Who do you have? Do you have room for me?" Blah, 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 blah. And we weren't sure. We got to a point where we need these. We got these four guys now. Okay, now we got the fifth guy. Now we got the sixth guy. And then every time, we would, you and I talked a lot. It was like, I'd bug you at work. "Hey, can you talk? Hey, I'm taking Noel to school.
Nola, yeah.
Nola to school. I'm taking Nola to school. Okay, call me back as soon as you drop her off. So same with Ronnie too. And we were once we put a couple of the pieces to the puzzle, I started getting more confident, feeling better, and then it happened. And we said, because Chris and I decided, hey, we're going to have 8 guys. That's it, 8 guys. And then we were like, yeah, do we need 9? Do we need 8? And then, so it was stressful, and but it was kind of like the way I like it, methodical, right?
Mm.
We didn't we didn't get too much. I didn't get too emotional, right? In it, but you know, we
I think
we kept it methodical, and in the standpoint of, okay, we want people that are good, but at the same time, we don't want people that aren't going to fit in. Like you said, we bring in one person, and I've had these issues before with energy and the Bears and stuff like that, where we got like 5, 6, 7 guys, and then there's just one guy that the chemistry isn't right, and the one guy can really mess up the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's just the way it is. So I wanted to learn from my mistakes and make sure that we took our time. Even though Randy's like, we got to put this together. He's like, right, we got the team together yet? Randy, it's only been 3 days. Come on, let's do it. And he's like, oh, get this guy, talk to this guy. So it was good because he was giving me advice who to talk to, people that I wouldn't have thought of talking to. And then I put it by you guys. And there's a couple people, that you said the same thing that Cody said, that Ronnie said about that person. And that person was never, that person got dropped from the consideration, several guys like that. But, so was it stressful? Yeah. When it was, when, like I said, when Rob agreed, we're good to go. It was like a weight off my shoulders. Chris Jansen was the same thing. Whoo!
I think we all needed a vacation after that, honestly.
Yes,
we
did.
Quick weekend trip or something.
Actually, that was at the point. But then at that point, once you have everybody, then it's a different kind of stress, because like now you're okay. We got the guys, and now we have to go and reach back out to sponsors who had reached out to us, and then reach out to sponsors that didn't reach out to us, and see where it went. And as things fell into place, the whole thing with Core GI, whatever you want to call it, John Rathman and Matt Sossman and Billy, man, they really did a good deal for us,
And I'm excited to be working with them again. It's been a lot of years since.
And then Adam, Adam, who, like I was talking to somebody. I go, yeah, I just talked to the guy Adam from DLX. They're like, Adam, you talked to him? I'm like, yeah, he's a nice guy. They're like, oh, he's the owner of the company. I go, I know, but he's still a nice guy.
Yeah, still a person.
Seems like a normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great talking. It's just I just feel blessed that the fact that all of these things fell into place. You guys probably don't know this, but this all went down, got the sponsorships and everything, and Tom Cole didn't even know about it. He got back and he called me. He goes, "Hey, what's going on with this?" He's like, "What's going on with this Heat thing?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What happened to him?" So I had to,
Look, we got it all sorted, Tom. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, "Hey, we've been keeping Jason posted, so you just get with him." So he's like, "Okay, yeah, great."
I would like to touch on a couple of things you said there, because for one, you said methodical, and I agree it's methodical, but I think too many people hear that term and think that means slow. But you can't move slow in things like that. You just have to move cautiously. You have to move with intention. You have to make the right choice at the right time, because even though the off season, is a few months, dominoes fall, and like it almost goes in holding periods. It's like nothing happens, because a lot of teams are waiting on one piece, and then as soon as that piece goes, now they're all shuffling around to looking for other options or seeing where they could change their course of direction. So it is methodical, but it's not slow, and you have to be on it, because if you miss out and then a domino falls, you might miss out on your next 6 options, because sometimes things are in almost holding patterns, and then all this action happens.
But that's the one thing. That is one of the things that Randy was stressing. He's like, "Look, this is what's going to happen. there are going to be guys that are halfway committed, and then you're banking on them to commit, and then they don't commit, and then you've missed out on the next guy, and so forth and so on. He was on top of it. He was like, we were speaking 3 or 4 times a day, about, hey, did you talk to this guy? And then he'd say to me, hey man, if I'm bugging you, just let me know. I go, no, sir, you're not bugging me. I need the help with this, So,
and from a player's perspective, one that was essentially a free agent this year, I appreciate that from the owner side, and I understand what they're going through. And then also, selfishly, I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision for me too.
Yeah.
So it's I know, and I'm not going to try to string you along, but at the same time, I'm making a life decision too, and because I'm not going to just turn on that in an instant and go a different way. Like I want to think hard and make the right choice so that I don't have any regrets and I can only look forward. So and you also talked about running some things by us and stuff, and as a player, like, I really appreciate that, and I understand that that doesn't mean you're always going to take the advice, but or the input, because you shouldn't always. But it means a lot to know that you care enough to ask and that you're included, because feeling like you're included in the decision-making process makes it feel like it's more the fruits of your labor when you build it and when you win with it. So everyone has their own pieces to add and things like that. And when someone doesn't care about the input, or that, it's like, well, I get that you don't have to take it, but you should at least hear these things out from everyone, because there might be an issue that you weren't aware of, right? That you might want to avoid one direction or the not. And as a player, like, that kind of stuff, gives me a lot of confidence in ownerships and in coaching when they're willing to have open and honest conversations with you, because in the end, as an athlete, that's all you want, is honesty and direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's and you'll find as we, go along here, that I am open to listening to people. I consider myself a pretty smart guy because I want to listen to other people and will listen to other people. Now, I'm also an independent thinker, so you could tell me something, and then Ronnie could tell me something that may be different, and I might go, well, you're both. I don't agree with either one of you, or I might take it and combine it, and go, yeah, this is what I think. And I know my lane, right? I know that I'm not the evaluator of talent. I am not the guy that knows all about paintball, so to speak, but I do know people. I think that that's my job. My job is to understand how people think, why they're thinking that way, what they say. I listen to what people say, because then I could figure out what their decision is going to be or how they're going to think. Right. So that's me. I'm not like I said. I'm not like I think I told you one time. I go, yeah. Somebody called me a coach. Hey coach, how's it going? I go, I'm not a coach. I'm that's disrespectful to coaches to call me a coach, because I'm not. I coach some kids, but I'm not.
If they were just saying you're a life coach, in your own way, every one of us can be a life coach.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so I'm more of like the manager, the organizer. I don't mind, getting dirty. I don't mind setting up the pit. I don't. That's just something to help the team.
Fit right in as a Heat owner then, because Sarge was always raking our pits off.
I know.
Nice,
No,
I turned into the rake guy.
Yeah, you got the. Well, we'll get you a special rake then.
Perfect. Learn from the best.
I remember seeing Randy and Sam's dad. I forgot. John, is that his name? John. Like, they're pulling the coolers and stuff like that. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. No, I'm that way too. Hey, you pitch in, right?
Yeah.
I can't go out there and help shoot somebody, so I'm going to help you to be, have the best things, give you all the tools, give the players all the tools, the things that they need. And there's players that need different, for lack of a better term, like different babying, right? Like, okay, this guy likes this guy likes that. I got to understand that, that's what I have to understand. is how to treat those guys. And Chris Jansen has to understand that you don't coach everybody the same way. It's you got to understand their mind. They're already pro players. They're already good at what they do. Now you have to get the best out of them psychologically. So,
No, I really like the way you described, listening to people's thoughts and being an independent thinker, because I think I do a lot of the same things. It's when you hear the way someone breaks something down or see the way that their mind works, you can then understand the way it will work in the future. And that goes to being on the field too. You talk about like learning with the teams. As soon as we learn each other's mannerisms a little more and you see the people's body movement, well, then you can predict future events before they even happen. And you're not to 100 degrees certainty, but more than just going out there blindfolded. Right. And I like hearing other people's opinions because you only are ever going to look at things through the lenses of your own experiences and your own precognitions, right? So when you hear the way someone else does it, that can add something to the way you think about something. But at the bare minimum, it lets you understand them. So when I have people ask me questions, I don't want them to take it as gospel, but I just want them to understand where I'm coming from so they can understand me more. And if someone always just agreed with you or always just took that at face value, that's not a conversation. That's not bettering anyone.
Well, and it kind of rewinds to what Alan said closer to the beginning. When someone comes up to you and starts talking about something you did, don't take it personal or as like take it hard. It's just opportunities of growth is all it is. When you get to have those conversations, when you get some kind of feedback, whenever you get those things, it's just such an opportunity to grow and then create a bond, because once you start getting comfortable having those conversations, then it's really going to flourish into something a lot bigger and better. Right. So I think that is what's really awesome. And from what Ryan's told me, everyone like from practice and stuff, it's been, Ryan and Ronnie both talked to me about how, I was in their ear bugging them. I'm like, how was it? Calling them up, hitting them up. And everybody is just so on the same page of they want to work the hardest they can and get as much out of each other and themselves. So it's like, I'm really excited. Like, I'm really excited for all y'all. It's going to be great.
We're excited about you.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because Ryan says, hey, there's this guy, Hal, I don't know if you know him, blah, blah, whatever. So then I call and I talk to him. I'm like, dude, I like this guy already. Right. And then Ronnie tells me the same, Ronnie says, oh yeah, man, Hal's coming. So you're friends with Hal too? Oh yeah. Okay, good. It's another guy. So, but I didn't know what you looked like. Right.
Yeah.
Until then I see you playing. And I hear Ronnie go, hey, Hal. And you go, yeah. And I'm like, is that guy got a really long beard, Austin? Austin looks at it and goes, yeah, he's got a long beard. I'm like, oh, I think I know who that guy is now.
The beard always, this big red beard always gives it away. Yeah.
It gave you the away. Yeah.
Irish
I remember.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think I remember meeting you with Devin. So I think one day you guys were walking, we stopped and we talked or something like that. Now I remember. I put the I couldn't remember your name, but now I see you, and then like, okay, that's that guy. So
so much of paintball. It's such a small community, and so many of these relationships we build are based on 2-minute interactions because we're all so invested in our own processes, our own teams, our own responsibilities, that when like how many times of our conversations consist of, oh, how you doing, Alan? It's good to see you, good luck, and then
that's exactly
and see you in a couple days or a couple of months, and then we'll have the same conversation again. And it is nice when you finally get a chance to learn about someone more than just in passing.
No, I've always tried to, when I see a player that I've said hi to before, we've talked before, we played you guys, we shook hands in the line or something like that. When I see you again, hey, how you doing? I'm genuinely, like, hey, how are you? When I heard you a few years back, you're getting ready to have I guess it's been several years back now, 4 or 5 years, right? How
she'll be 4 in April. She'll be
yeah,
4
you're
in
gonna have a
April.
baby. Hey, hey, congratulations! Heard you had a baby. Like
Yeah.
it's I like to see. I'm a family guy. I like to see people that have families or they're getting ready to have families or whatever. If they need a family, we're open. So, but yeah, there's more to it than just the bunkering people and all that other stuff. I think there's a lot of guys out there that are good guys, and whether there are guys we're trying to kill on the field, doesn't mean we have to be that way when we're off the field, right? So,
Yeah.
No, and that's probably been one of the biggest changes that I've seen over the course of my career, outside of all the formats and all this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I first started playing, it was a lot more tribal, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've watched
hungry.
videos of that.
And well, we also weren't, players weren't swapping teams that often, so you built longer
Right.
lasting rivalries,
yeah.
and grudges, and then now it is. I mean, I don't think it's been to a detriment on the field because I still think those rivalries exist on the field, but off the field, I mean, we've all been doing the same thing at the same places for, a couple decades. We are friends with them, but there's no one I like beating more than my friends anyway. So it makes no difference for the on the field product,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, really, like I said, I've talked to Ryan and Ronnie after practice, and I was really excited to hear just like how ecstatic they were. It's like you could tell they could light up a room with how excited and happy and just talking about it. And that's a big deal, and I know it's a lot of weight for anyone that shifts. It's under the same name, but it's a whole, almost like a universe shift for them in a sense, because they're not playing with some of the guys that used to be, that were there since the inception of Heat and stuff like that. But to hear them like light up the room the way they were talking, you're like, oh man, if you're excited about this, I'm excited about this, because it's their energy, as I'm sure you've probably seen at the field at practice when y'all met for it. It's infectious. And like having that energy will make a team so good, and it's, just everyone being on board, everyone believing in each other, helping each other out. I'm really, really excited for this year. I'm ready to watch. I'm ready to watch these guys come out on the field and hurt some people and show them what we're about. And it's gonna be great.
Yeah, we don't have any prima donnas, right? That's what I like. We don't have any prima donnas. We have a bunch of blue collar in the trenches. Let's get to work. Not afraid to work. Doesn't matter. If you're the first ranked player in the world or whatever, you're there to work. And I don't have to say, hey man, you're here to work. You guys work. I was not knowing how people are until you're actually with them. I was a little cautious, but I knew Ryan, and I knew, because we'd practiced against those guys a couple different times before, and I knew Ronnie. I didn't, obviously we didn't know Andy, but I knew that. I observed, when we practiced them, they came down to practice us in Virginia a couple times. And so I observe them and see that. But then you're always, I wonder what it's like when you're really when they're on your team, right? Is it going to be different or whatever? And it wasn't. It was exactly what it was, which is, hey, the reason Heat has the most recognizable name in paintball is because of those guys and other guys, that have built that team's reputation. And so it, to me, like I tell Sarge all the time, I go, hey, there's a lot of pressure to, even though it is like a different team or whatever you want to call it, it's still the same name. It is, we're building on and continuing the Heat legacy, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talked with Randy about it, man, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready. I think I don't have all the knowledge, but I do have some organizational skills and a concept, and then with some guidance from people, players, coaches, Randy, other people that we're building or have built. It just hasn't happened yet. A successful team.
Takes a village.
Yep.
I was thinking that earlier. I was thinking that exact same thing. And it's funny, as a new owner, you're riding the same roller coaster that all these guys are riding,
Right.
Y'all haven't met yet. Everybody's like, oh, I wonder how this person or that, how is everyone going to mesh? And you ride the same roller coaster, but you're just not sitting next to each other yet on the roller coaster. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really cool thing. And about Houston Heat, Ronnie said something to me really cool. When because I took it really hard because I wasn't there. I just had sinus surgery. If I would have known, the doctor told me not to fly within X amount of time because of my sinuses, and I had a bunch of reconstruction done. And if I would have known, I would have been there. But Ronnie told me whenever it happened, he goes, "This isn't the end, Hal." He goes, and this is before this is while he was a free agent, obviously. He goes, "This is just a new chapter." That's all it is for Heat. This is just a new chapter. We're turning the pages.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it's like when you're part of a successful organization like Heat, and we've had failures for the last few years, went from second, third, fourth, and then a seventh last year in a rebuilding year. That's not winning paintball for us. So I think, changes needed to be made regardless for the betterment of everyone. Like, the players that aren't on the team anymore that go on to other places might play some of their best paintball, when Fedorov went to Tauntauns last year. I thought he played some of the best paintball I've seen him play in probably a decade. It's sometimes you need change to relight a fire under some people, to get people out of ruts, because things become monotonous. Not that you're tired of doing it, but sometimes you might be going through the motions without knowing that you're going through the motions.
Right.
You have to do a little extra. You have to have a little bit of turmoil or shakeup to hit that next step, or you'll just plateau. And we were clearly in a funk, and I think this will help, us individually and as a team succeed more. Whether, like I said, I'm talking about the players that are still on Heat, the new guys to Heat, or the players that were on Heat that will move on to other places. I still want the best for them too, but a shakeup needed to happen, and it
Nobody sees their own complacency. Right. It's usually pointed out to them, then they're like, oh yeah, then they realize it. A funny thing is that I had no idea that happened at Cup, what had happened in the pit or whatever, what the conversation. And I still don't know all the details. I've got some, but I don't need to. I was back in Virginia by the time somebody said, hey, Heat's folding. I'm like, they're not folding. They're just probably restructuring or something like that. And then, one thing leads to another. And then I'm like, yeah, they're not folding. Something. And now I know it's not happening. But I had no idea that had happened.
Wow.
Some people.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shocked, I think, all of us to different degrees. And when it happened, it was just like, to me, I couldn't really dwell on that or get too sad about it, obviously, but I couldn't dwell on it because I had I knew I wasn't done with paintball yet. So I was instantly, I was like, oh, now, okay, I'm just going into what my next year is going to look like, and how
Right.
like will that look like, you know, being able to be with some of the guys still, with not. But it's like instantly went from being, you know, getting knocked out of the tournament to being thinking paintball again before that tournament's even over, thinking next year, trying to move pieces around to, you know, make sure I was in a place I'd be happy.
And that was the thing with Ronnie. We talked a lot, you know, like Ronnie was, I think he was shell shocked. Like he was just like, I don't know, you know. And of course, you know, start entertaining other ideas and that type of thing. And but all along, you know, my conversations with him, I really felt that, you know, he just needed to feel comfortable with staying with Heat, right? Like, you know, obviously you staying, Mishka staying, that helped a lot. Andy staying, and then, you know, whatever that helped him to realize,
And honestly, like
that he could be a, hey, like I said to him, I said, hey, look, man, we need you. We need you and Ryan. We need to be leaders.
and players like Cody, he's played with before, has a relationship with players like Rob, he plays with all the time. So, it did make sense. But like you said, it was a shell shock, but not in the sense of like, oh, what am I going to do? It's just like, oh, I put in, this has been my life for the last, you know, forever. And I put in all his effort into that. And he just wants to make sure he's making the right decision to move forward. And I, you know, I had conversations with him, and it was hard before, like me and him talked too much every day, you know, because I thought we were in pretty similar situations with both think about things a lot of the same way. So at the beginning, you know, we're talking about, you know, maybe going somewhere together, how we're going to work that out, the different pros and cons to every option. And then, you know, after, you know, I chose to come back and be on Heat, it was hard because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't selfishly trying to convince him to come to Heat in that essence. And instead, still being the person that he could confide in and that I was confiding in, and making these decisions either way. So like, I still wanted him to, you know, make that decision naturally on his own without being forced, and still have my honest opinions on the pros and cons to every situation that he had in front of him as a friend to him, and not selfishly like, oh yeah, screw everyone else, come back with me. You know?
I don't know if I should even say this, but did he ever tell you about a time when we recruited him for energy?
I knew about it. I hadn't talked to him about it in a while, but
it was a while ago.
The first year, the second year, you guys were a pro team, because I remember
it was the second year, and I think he was gone from Heat for like a year and came back, or something like that, right? 2 years, came back, and so it was. It was at a time where somebody told me, hey, look, you know, Ronnie, you know, maybe we could recruit him, you know, blah, blah, blah. He didn't get a lot of playing time at certain things or something like that, maybe whatever. And so I called him, we talked to him, and he goes, hey, man, I'm ride or die Heat forever. I don't care if I play or not. I'm going to earn my spot. I'm going to play and play more or whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, that's good. You know, whatever.
I do.
And
I remember.
Now I got him back because now he's on my team.
Exactly.
Right.
Who won? I won.
Just took the long road there, you know?
It's a long chess game is all it was, right?
Exactly.
Well, I guess we both won because he's still ride or die Heat, you know?
That's right.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but I
That's
do
true,
remember we were in Australia after a tournament that we both had guested with down there on different teams, and at the players' party after, and I had talked to him then about, he was saying about how you guys had approached him then, and so I remember having that conversation in a random, you know, bar in Australia with him.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, man, I'm excited. I know that Austin and Chewy are excited. You know, from this end of it, you know, that, you know, it's been an amazing turnaround for Chewy, who took a year off and, you know, like decided he wanted to do some other things, rock climbing, racing cars and stuff like that. And then, came back at the end of this year and played an event with us and was like really just excited. I could see a new spark in him. He's older than everybody thinks, but he is still got a lot of room for growth, and he just needs some guidance from some more mature players to help him. And he's a soldier. He is a soldier.
That's the thing about him. He's a natural athlete. Like you mentioned, his rock climbing. I've been looking at his Instagram stories and stuff. He's a fantastic boulder. And it's hard on the body. I do it too. I'm not nearly as good as he is at it, but it's not easy to do. He's a natural athlete. He has an aggressive mindset.
Marine too. You know that how?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, nice.
He's a crayon eater too, like my dad before me,
Yeah.
But Marines have that, a very distinct mindset, I think, and that's a go get them in the trenches mindset. And I'm excited to have him on the team because that whole first practice, he was just asking questions, how to do things, how to do that. So you're not having to teach them how to be aggressive. You just are explaining to them, the way I think about things or where I take advantage of things. And it's like he wants to be that sponge that, Andy already is. And now he's around players like that. And a player like Austin, like I said, he always, had great survivability. But now, like, he was so easy to play with right off the rip. And that's something that you don't know until you step on the field with him. But having someone that's such a great communicator like him and his voice carries helps a player like me a lot because my voice is unfortunately not great, right? But if you have someone who can connect to people that know what's going on so that everyone sees one clear picture, makes everything easier. And then, with our lineup the way it is, I'm excited to see Austin, up in the mix a little more too, because I think survivability is something that carries over to different positions on the field. If you can survive anywhere, you can survive anywhere else. And if everyone's surviving up in the enemy lines, it's a lot more dangerous.
Yeah. He'll learn that. He'll if there's anything good about Austin's game, it's that he sees the field really well. He's tall and he's got good reflexes and vision and smart enough to call where the people are or whatever, right? So he has good field vision. So
and he listens well too, because he's listening for information that he has to share, and that's something a lot of players overlook because that's so important for communication. You're not just clogging up the airwaves. You're listening for bits and pieces that take apart the key important things, and that's what you're sharing. And he knows what to listen for. So that's something that not having to teach is huge because it gets a team on the same page faster, right? So he's one of the younger guys on the team, having him on the field like that from the beginning can help us grow as a team that much faster.
Sure.
Where if you don't have those connection pieces or if you have the wrong people in places, you don't have that same the same instant cohesion. So I'm excited to see him flourish. I'm excited to see Chewy flourish. It's people that I see have the desire to be great. And not everyone with the desire to be great will become great, but no one without that desire.
It's the start.
Yes.
You gotta have the desire first.
no one ever becomes great without that desire.
Yep.
Right.
So if I'm really looking forward to this year and all the years to come and all the challenges that are put in front of us. Some will be internal and some will be external, because I think sometimes the biggest challenges you can ever face are the roadblocks you put in front of yourselves. And as long as we're stay on the same page, stay unselfish, and are willing to give everything for the people next to us, I think we can be successful, and I think we can be successful quickly. So I don't look for Heat to take any step back. I'm looking for all steps forward, even though this is a new addition to the team.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
So
I know.
I know we don't want to keep you here too long, but Hal usually likes asking some questions at the end and everything.
All right.
And then
I remembered this time too. I was like, I need to ask.
And I know you don't like doing these kind of things too often, Alan, but I do think it's important, like, I don't really love doing these things either. I've grown an appreciation for doing it, but I started when Hal, called me and asked me about wanting to do a podcast. I agreed because I wanted, the people, the fans, the family who have so much invested into us mentally, emotionally, to have a little bit more insight. And I think if I can give that back in any way, it's important. But I also think, having long form conversations allows people to get you to know you more innately, right?
Sure.
So I think, like, even though this isn't maybe in your wheelhouse of things you want to do, I think having all these fans of Heat get a chance to hear you sit down and talk and hear your opinions and your thought processes will give them faith in still being fans of the team or to become new fans of the team.
Right.
And I think, when people are so invested in us, it's nice to be able to do this once in a while. So I will say, before Hal asks any questions, like, you always have an open door policy here.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to, talk about anything in front of anyone, you
guys make it easy. This is good. I like it.
Well, we appreciate that. And I will say this, because, I run the Heat Instagram page. Since you've picked up the team and, like, we've got the team that we have, our Instagram page has some pretty good growth to it, because I watch it every day, the analytics, and, like, so we got people that believe in y'all and faith and excitement. And it's a really cool thing that I noticed when that was happening. I was like, oh man, it's like, cause I don't have any natural content to post right now because it's off season and,
Sure.
all that jazz. And so, I'm just doing the collabs and stories, or if we have something from a sponsor that sends it to us, I make sure to get it up and that kind of jazz. But, so it's not because of new content that I've pushed out. So I think there's a lot of people out there really excited about this too. And like he said, thank you so much for making time and coming to the table with us and sitting down and having these conversations. I genuinely, when I went to Ryan, I wanted to do it for Heat, but also I want to tell people's story. I think everybody's story in life is unique, and there's something in there that's something to be learned from and get some growth, personal growth for yourself from. And I just love sitting down and getting to know people. And so thank you so much for cutting out some time for us tonight. I know you're a busy man, so it means a lot. But to the question that I like to end the show on, I normally, no, it's great. It's good.
Okay.
I normally ask Ryan, or if we have a guest, I ask the guest, what is some either dad or life advice that you could give someone? Doesn't have to be long, could be short and sweet if you wanted, but just some dad or life advice for anyone.
That's great. That's something that I'm pretty good. Well, I'd say I'm pretty good at, but I am experienced at it. So
perfect.
My advice is, and this is something that paintball has given me, is to spend time with your kids, right? It doesn't matter if they're 4 or they're 40, because I do have a 40-year-old son too. And I spend time with them. And like, people would ask me, like, why are you in this paintball thing? What's going on there? I go, hey, listen, how many 60-year-old guys, I'm 66, how many 60-year-old guys
66.
get to spend time with my two sons, 25 and 27, like almost every weekend? How many people do that? And it's something that I think it's important if you can do it, right? It just spend time with your children. Let them know that you love them. So that's my advice. Can't always. Not everybody can do that. I'm blessed with this paintball thing that ended up this way, because it just. Yeah. I never thought that I never thought that I would be spending time with my sons on the weekend and stuff like that. You know, my 2 youngest sons. My other son works with me all the time, so I'm with him a lot. But he's
That's great.
grown and got a family, but he does live like, literally 100 yards from me. So I do get to
Nice.
spend time with him and my granddaughter and stuff like that. But it's, that's my dad advice. Like, if you can, spend time with your kids. Doesn't matter how old they are. I know there's several guys on the team that have children, and that's what I'd say. Spend time with them.
Awesome. That's
Couldn't agree
great.
more.
Well,
Yeah.
with that being said, we do want to be respectful of your time and wrap it up. We're gonna wait after the outro, and we'll chat with you just for a split second afterwards. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for everyone tuning in. We look forward
Thanks,
to
guys.
seeing y'all next one. Adios.
Well, the whiskey's low and the story's all done, but we sure had ourselves some fun. From tall tales told to the last good pun, you've been rolling with the rowdy ones. Thanks for listening, y'all.